Hey guys, so in this video we're going to just have a very brief introduction to DreamWeaver. So let's go ahead and launch that. We're using CS6, but if you're using pretty much any version, this should work. So the very first thing I'm going to do, once I have my splash screen, I'm just going to go ahead and hit Create New. We're going to keep things pretty simple in this. We're just going to create a document that we're going to call Hello World. Typically Hello World is just the words Hello World, but that's really simple, so we're going to spice it up just a little bit, but don't worry, we're not doing anything difficult. So I'm just going to go ahead and type Hello World. There we go. So right now we have this in design mode, so we're seeing sort of like what it's going to look like on the web if we were to upload it somewhere. We can click live if we want, and that's a little bit closer to what it would look like on the web. We can also do splits, and this shows us more or less what it looks like, and code, and we can also do code where it shows us just the code itself. So this is essentially what would make up our web page if we typed hello world. Now we can also type here as well, and we can go into split and we can see it there. Well, if it decides to cooperate, there we go. So I put in some line breaks here, but they don't show up here, and that's because it doesn't work the same way. Line breaks and spacing in code don't do anything. If instead I add some line breaks here, I'm just going to hold shift and press enter a couple times, you can see the BR tag here. This is that line break. Now if instead of holding shift and if I just press enter without holding shift, you can see it's quite different too. It uses paragraph tags. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and go back into design mode, and we're going to go ahead and delete everything real fast. We're going to do our hello world again. I'm going to add a few other things in here too, like my first web page with DreamWeaver. Alright, so we've got some text here. So maybe we want this to be like the title of the document, like the header. Not even really the title, just the header. So we can go here to format and we can choose a header. We can also highlight it and come back down here and we can do stuff like indentions or bullets or bold or italic, stuff like that. So there's some things that we can do here. So maybe we want it italicized. Now if we click bold, we're not going to see much difference because headers are already bold, but we can add italics if we want. So a couple of other things we can do. If we go up here to modify page properties, we can also, we're just going to go here to appearance HTML for right now. We can play with other stuff later, but for right now, let's just play with HTML. We can give it a background color. So maybe we choose like a soft blue, and we can give it a text color of maybe a pale yellow, and we can go ahead and apply it and see what happens. We can also put a bit of a margin here. So let's say we do, what happens if we do 1? It actually decreases because there already is a default. So when you're doing measurements on the web, it's actually done in pixels. So if we want to see a difference, let's go ahead and type in 100. So you start to get the idea. We could do a top margin if we want, and it's going to be somewhere around there. We actually have rulers set on here right now, and yours may or may not have rulers. You can turn those on if you want under View, Rulers, Show or Don't Show. Right now it's showing in pixels. I could change it to inches or centimeters if I want, but the web works primarily with pixels, so that's why you see this is at 100 here and at 100 there. So what else can we do with this? Well, there's actually a lot that we can do with this, but we're not going to play with too much of it now. The only other thing that I want you to look at is if we go back to page properties, is to actually give it a title. Right now this doesn't have a title, so we can change it here. So we'll just do my first web page again. But we could have also done that right here. It's in both spots. So play with the margins, play with the text color, play with the body background color, which were all done up in here in the page properties. Add some text that is in a header format. Add some text that's in a paragraph format. Header, paragraph. And you can play with the other headers as well. And that's pretty much it for this first video. So to actually make it into a web page, though, you can't just save it as whatever. You need to save it as a .html file. And that is actually the default when it comes to DreamWeaver, because you're building web pages. So my first web page. Now the internet does not like spaces. You may want to use spaces. Don't use spaces. Now no spaces aren't that great either. So what you actually want to do is you want to use hyphens. So we're just going to keep it simple. This will be your first web page. It's not impressive. It's not very great, but you know what? It's a web page. And if we just quit DreamWeaver, just Command W or Command Q to close that out. If I double click this, it will automatically launch in whatever my default browser is. And we can see it here. We could open this back up in DreamWeaver if we wanted. But we have other options too, like we can also open this in TextEdit. If we click TextEdit, this will show us that code view that we saw in DreamWeaver. So if we open this in DreamWeaver, you can see the same thing here. This is a little bit nicer because it colorizes it for us, but you can see they are the same thing. So you can actually write web pages in just TextEdit if you know the code. But we're not going to worry about that right now. That's something that you can check out more later if you're really interested. So go ahead and save your first web page, which you should now have. Mine's just on my desktop, and there you go. You have built a web page. Simple, not great, but it's a start. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the video useful. If you did, you can very quickly and easily let me know by just clicking the thumbs up or the like button. If you need any help, let me know and I will see what I can do.